Persian Empire had fallen, but Alexander's greatest battle was yet to come, against an enemy that could not be conquered, the unforgiving sands of the Gedrosian Desert. Alexander, atop his horse, scans his weary men, faces burned by the sun, lips cracked from thirst. No empire is won without suffering, but Alexander knew, if he was to call himself their king, he would share in their hardship. Alexander to his men, a king leads not by comfort, but by sharing in the struggles of his people. The desert showed no mercy. Water ran low. Men collapsed and doubts began to creep in. But turning back was never an option. Soldier, trembling from exhaustion, offers Alexander a helmet filled with water, the last of the reserves. Alexander looks down at it, then at his men, parched, desperate, eyes hollow with exhaustion. A gift of water, a king's privilege. But Alexander saw the faces of his men, each one thirsting, each one suffering. In one swift motion, Alexander lifts the helmet and pours the water onto the ground. Alexander, if my men cannot drink, neither shall I. Then one soldier stands straighter, then another. Strength returns to their eyes. If their king would endure, so would they. A single act of sacrifice, a single moment of leadership, and the will of the army was reborn. A powerful sandstorm roars across the desert, swallowing the soldiers in a blinding fury of sand and wind. But the desert had one more trial, a storm sent to break them. Soldiers struggle, some fall, but Alexander moves through the storm like a force of nature, lifting his men, leading them forward. The storm passes. Bodies lay in the sand, but the army still stands. Exhausted, battered, but standing. Alexander to his men, voice hoarse but resolute. Victory means nothing if it cannot endure hardship. The desert had taken its toll, but it had not taken their spirit. Finally, after weeks of torment, they reach the edge of the desert. Lush lands appear. Rivers gleam like silver under the sun. Through sheer will, they emerged. Not just as survivors, but as legends. Alexander stands alone at the edge of the desert, staring at the path they conquered. It was not the deserts of Persia he had conquered that day, but doubt itself. He closes his eyes for a moment, then marches forward, unstoppable. Greatness is not given, it is earned through struggle, through sacrifice, through fire and storm. Will you rise when the desert stands in your way? Do subscribe and follow, for we are only at the beginning of this conquest.